Hi everyone. Well, it's winter, and as soon as the cold weather hits, I get a lot of questions from people who want to grow vegetables, but they're frustrated because their plants are dying in the cold weather. Well, I've got one word for you: peas. A very easy vegetable to grow in cool weather. Now, today we're going to talk about 3 steps to planting peas and 3 easy ways to trellis them. Now, am I talking about growing peas in areas where you're under snow and get lots of cold and frost all winter long? No, I'm not. Am I talking about trying to grow peas indoors under grow lights? Not so easy. But if you live in a mild winter climate such as California, Texas, Arizona, Florida, you only get light frost in the wintertime, peas are the perfect vegetable for you to grow. So stick around, this is going to be a lot of fun. Now, I absolutely love growing peas in my garden. They're such a delicious vegetable to snack on right outside. Now, they love growing in temperatures under 75 degrees. And the beautiful thing about peas is they will even survive a light frost. So they're perfect for those mild winter climates. They love to be planted in full sunshine. So as long as your temperatures are under 75 degrees, you're going to have a lot of peas to eat. Now, if you do live in a cold winter climate where you're under snow and a lot of frost, pay attention here, because peas are one of the very first vegetables you can get planted in the spring, even 2 weeks before your last frost date. Now, the first step that you want to do when you're planting peas is to make sure that you prepare the soil. Peas don't need a ton of extra fertilizer because they do add nitrogen to the soil over the growing season. However, you definitely want to prepare your soil before planting. So I'm going to plant some peas right here at the base of this trellis. We'll get to trellising in just a moment. And what I'm going to add is a handful of my own homemade compost. I love making my own compost to feed my garden. Doesn't that look absolutely beautiful, nice and rich and black? It's going to give some really good nutrients to my peas. So I'm just going to add a handful here where I'm going to plant some seeds. Now, peas can also be started from seed indoors, but because the temperature is just right for them right now outside, I'm going to plant seeds right in the garden beds. So I added some compost. I'm also going to add a handful of worm castings, which adds good beneficial bacteria and microbes to the soil and really helps my plants be healthy. So I'm going to add a handful of the Burmistera worm castings. I'm going to mix it all in here to the soil. It just feels so good to get my hands in the dirt here. It's such a good feeling. And step 2 is planting the seeds. So we're going to plant some Sugar Ann sugar snap peas from my spring garden seed collection. You can grab that over my website. Sugar Ann snap peas are super, super sweet. They're also an All America Selection variety winner. So they're sure to be very, very productive in your garden, and they grow a ton of peas. Now, to plant peas, you can space them just a couple inches apart. I'm actually planting them at the base of a trellis here because these like to climb. So all you have to do is just poke the seeds right into the soil. Soil is nice and loose, so it's perfect for planting peas. I never get over the miracle of one tiny seed. Now, peas are such an easy vegetable to grow and plant. It took us about 30 seconds. We planted some seeds, covered them up, and we're well on our way to some fresh, tasty peas to harvest in about 6 weeks. Now, the third step is to water them. Now, peas don't need a high nitrogen fertilizer. I'm going to add some of the Burmistera worm casting tea to my watering can here and water them with that. This provides them with some slow and steady growth over the growing season and really does help keep them healthy and productive. Going to water them in, and the peas should sprout under ideal conditions where the temperatures are 75 degrees or under and where they're getting lots of nice sunshine in about a week or so. Now that we have our peas planted in 3 easy steps, let's talk about some easy ways to trellis your peas. They are a climbing vegetable and a trailing vegetable, so you definitely need to have some support for them. One of my favorite trellises of the year is this ladder mesh trellis. You guys might have remembered how we built this on a video a couple months ago. This is 2 pieces of ladder mesh, which I picked up at Home Depot, tied together at the top with cable ties, and right now I'm also using it for a tomato trellis, and then stuck in the ground with a couple of posts. So it's a very inexpensive way to trellis. Costs about $10. And when the tomato plants die off, as the winter progresses, the peas will be growing, and they'll be so beautiful growing over this trellis all the way over to the other side. And there'll be a link to that video that'll pop up on your screen so you can know exactly how to get that trellis built for yourself. The second easy trellis idea is this super sturdy trellis we built out of a cattle panel last summer for cucumbers. All it is a piece of cattle panel. You can also use a piece of wire mesh fencing, a couple of heavy duty poles pounded into the ground. Attach the cattle panel or the mesh fencing to the poles, and you have got a beautiful trellis for your climbing vegetables. Now, I planted some peas at the base of this trellis a couple of weeks ago. They're already coming up. It's just going to be so much fun to see these fill in over the next couple of months. Now, one other little tip to grow a lot of peas in your garden is to plant them every couple of weeks. So these peas are coming up now. They'll be ready to harvest in about a month to 6 weeks. And the peas I just planted will be ready to harvest soon after that, so that way I never run out of peas to harvest in my garden. The third easy trellis, and one of my favorites because it's absolutely free, are tree branches. These branches we trimmed off a tree right here in our backyard, formed into the shape of a teepee, tied them together at the top, and just stuck it in a container. Now, if you don't have any space in your garden beds or you're growing on a patio or a balcony, peas work perfectly in a container. So let's just pop some seeds in right here. I'm actually going to throw in some worm castings first, just to give some extra nutrients to the soil. And we're going to plant a container-friendly variety of peas called Little Marvel peas. They're a smaller, more compact variety. They're in my fall garden seed collection. They're perfect for this little Callie Kim 5-gallon Smart Pots. So now you know 3 easy steps for planting peas and 3 easy trellis ideas. Well, comment below if you're going to grow peas if you live in a mild winter climate, or for those cold climate people, let me know if you're going to be planting peas in the spring. So if you need seeds or Callie Kim Smart Pots, you can head over to my website, and I have a whole section on growing peas in my new book, Organic Gardening for Everyone. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.